Yep. Okay. So the other day, when I was talking to black women, I said the general population of men are narcissistic. Um, and you're going to be like, that's not true. Only 1% of the population is narcissistic. But that's the thing. Um, dynamics, the dynamic of covert emotional incest commonly happens with narcissists. If I say that the general population uh, has experienced covert emotional incest, then that would mean that the major, because it's always going to be, here's what it's going to do. It's the same thing for every single thing. That's how we're designed. Okay, so like when I say you are gay because you have experienced covert emotional incest, so now your child will actually have the imprint on their DNA. Or I say, I've said this before in other ways, your parent was a racist, so now you're a covert racist, and your child may be overt racist. Right? It's the same thing. So your parent was a narcissist. You are just doing narcissistic shit because that's how you were raised. You were raised by a narcissist, but you yourself are not a narcissist. You can take it back to my poem, stay around them and people won't be able to tell the difference, right? Yeah. So then your child may be a narcissist, okay? So this is how it works, which means that the general population is actually narcissistic, men or women, okay? So, I'm saying that because that statistic is false. First of all, the reason it's false is because a narcissist does not seek help. They do all the projecting. They project onto you, so they don't go to therapy. So how would you be able to even get a accurate statistic? The people that are in therapy are everything beneath that. Psychopaths don't go to therapy, sociopaths don't go to therapy, narcissists don't go to therapy, but right under that is borderline. And a bunch of borderlines are in therapy. But the borderlines are commonly the victims of narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths. That's where the spectrum is. Okay? Yeah. See? Um, those people are the ones who've been emotionally raped by narcissists. They're in therapy. You know, the person who's depressed, the person that's anxious, the person with persistent emotional dysregulation, because narcissists and they experience emotional dysregulation as well, but theirs has a name, which most of the names that we give these things are not actually clinical, right? Like when you go to a therapist, it's not clinical. They're not. They don't call them this, but well, for the sake of narcissistic tactics, I'll tell you, they have something called narcissistic injury, and that is when they show themselves dysregulated. And it's commonly like when they're caught in a lie, whereas like a borderline shows consistent emotional dysregulation. Okay. And they also have different ways of funneling that, which essentially is the projection, you know, when they project onto you. Like when you guys get in an argument and you're talking completely normal and they're like, why are you so mad? Why are you so mad? Until you're mad, you know? stuff like that, they're actually the one that's mad. But they get you to display it instead. So that's how they funnel and they regulate their emotions and by projection. But anyway, I said all that to say, like, one, I don't want to just be like shitting on men, because I'm everybody focused. And saying the general population of men are narcissistic. Yeah, so are women. As well. I think there's a much higher. Here's another reason why I say that as well. Okay, narcissists get their flying monkeys, right? Well, they have to have a level of narcissism as well in order to participate. So when you have like a whole bunch of targeted individuals, and the average target individual has a number of about 200 people that are targeting them, that's one person, like, against 200 people. You know what I'm saying? That would mean that there's actually a higher concentration of narcissism, and it's far more an epidemic than people realize, because they have this little it's so funny when I say stuff. I just said something to somebody in a comment about exaggerated and staggered statistics. Well, the 1% is a staggered statistic, and they don't commonly, you just see the statistic and you don't know the things behind it. Like, if you really don't have any knowledge about narcissism, and not narcissism, but actual narcissistic personality disorder, you would know that they don't seek help. They don't go to therapy. They don't do any of that. So you would never be able to get an accurate reading on how many narcissistic people with the actual disorder. And then you have the people who have the traits, right? You would never be able to get an accurate assessment of that, because none of those people need help in their mind. But again, if you have millions of people who have been considered targeted individuals, and 200 people per person willing to target, it means that that number is far greater. That's why we could say it's a narcissistic paradigm. I'm here for you, general population. I'm here for you. All right? Read the books. They're very helpful, and they will help you find healing and take you down a couple notches to make you more able to go to therapy. Please. I say that with love. Everybody can. I'm not, well, I've been preaching, been brought up a lot lately. What's that about? I remember you guys did a video talking about, like, this era of everybody, people thinking everybody needs therapy. At this point, I gotta agree. Even if you don't even think you have, because the problem with narcissists is, okay, I think I've said this before, they have tons of hobbies. Part of that is what is so appealing about them. It's why it's so easy to get with them, because they're able to like show those coping skills and stuff. But that's because they're in a constant state of coping, right? And they're kind of like stuck in an emotional state where they need to be entertained all the time. That's very thrilling to people, right? So in that video, the person that you judged as not needing therapy might have actually needed therapy. All right? Like, I've said it before. My oldest son's father, I know I talk about my exes a lot, but I always speak of them with a level of esteem most of the time. He has a ton. He has so many talents. He has so many. Like, he has a very active life. Um, you know, but has enacted parental alienation. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. That is not a measurement of what's going on in the brain. In fact, because they have to build themselves up all the time and project on other people, the more the better. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, we're actually in a time where everybody could benefit from a couple therapy sessions. Everybody. Okay. So, I see general population. I see you. And everything will be alright, though. You know, everything will be alright. But I wanted to clarify that. Uh, it's the general population of men and women. Alright? Maybe even a couple kids, depending on how severe their trauma has been thus far in their life. Okay? So, I'm going to bed now. I just had a salad at 1 in the morning. It's really not advised, but I needed my belly to be full so I could go to sleep. Good night.